Hello and welcome to Feng Shui Storytime. I'm Karen Rao Carter. This is a place where you can learn how to Feng Shui your place through me telling stories of my clients and what they did and what kind of outcome they had. So today's story, it's so funny because, I travel around the world doing Feng Shui consultations for people, and a lot of those who I've entered their home, they're like, oh my gosh, is this the worst place you've ever been to? And I go, nope. That's the lady in Indiana. Sorry. Anyway, I was asked to come to Indiana to do a home. And upon arrival, when she opened up the door, the smell, I can't even describe to you. My sinuses were burning immediately. And I'm like, what is going on in here? And her hands were literally, they looked like this. They looked like bird claws. And they were just raw, eczema covered, just oozing, really bad, raw skin. And so she's like, come in. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I went into her house and she had like a little thing of lucky bamboo, a little water fountain, a little candle. She had like the 5 elements of stuff. And she's like, here, place them. That's why I hired you. Now, for those of you who have hung around me long enough, you know that I say I'm not about fixing houses. I'm about improving your life through the metaphor of your environment and how we can set up your surroundings to support your life. So just putting stuff around willy-nilly in the name of Feng Shui is not my game. I dig and try to figure out what you want out of life. What's occurring for you now? How do you want it to look? Dream big, dream bigger. And then we can go about setting up your environment to support that. So dress your house for the job you want, not the job you have, okay? So this lady, I was like, oh boy, we need to get some, basic education of what I do here. So I said, is it something that I could help you with your hands? And she's like, yeah, okay, sure. And I said, how long have you had that issue? And she said 7 years. And I said, has it been 7 years, in this home, or did you just move in here? How long have you been here? And she's like, yeah, pretty soon after that. I moved in here and then I started getting this hand issue. So I'm like, that's a good tip, because now we know that it's this environment that is not supporting her. The eczema on her hand, I often find that if there's vines clinging to the walls outside, which architects might say the skin of the building, if you have vines stuck to it or plants crawling on it, the paint chipping off, the stucco peeling off, you might have skin issues. It's literally the home's skin. So what's going on in your house is going on in your life. So look for those skin issues on the outside facade of the house if you have them, and make a change and see what you get from that. Good maintenance, pull off those vines. Her house almost was completely encroached by the plants. It looked like, does anybody live there? The plants are eating the house. It's just like succumbing to the back to nature. So that's how I would describe the outside of her house. So she had the eczema to prove it. And of course, there it was outside the house before I even knocked on the door. I was like, might be some skin issues in here for all the vines and landscape attacking the building, basically. So there were live guinea pigs running around and live rabbits running around. No cage, just running around. So that was why it stunk, because there was little droppings everywhere. So if you allow somebody, if you say people shit on me, watch where the shit is, okay? So I'm listening to people's complaints and I'm translating it to what's in their environment. And some people have said that to me. My employees were on me, and I'm like, oh, well, you let your dog do that in the house, So watch where the feces is. If you have that complaint in life, listen to your complaints. like write down the words that you use a lot to complain with and go find that in your house. So I'm like, okay, we're not going to be, we're not going to be placing the candle in the thing because that is like level, stage 92 for you. We need to get back to stage 1 called let's create a house that can actually support life. Because, her husband was in the master bedroom. He had pneumonia. So I wasn't even allowed to go in the master bedroom because he was sick. I couldn't breathe. So he was succumbing to it as well. He'd been there a lot longer than me. So I said, how long have your hands been like that? She said, they've been like that for 7 years. So I'm walking around the house and I'm looking for stuckness because her joints are stuck, right? So I'm looking around, I'm opening doors and drawers and windows and everything is just like, And I went to open up a drawer and my nails went backwards. And I was like, ow. And I was like, ooh, ah. I go, whose dresser is this? And she said, oh, that's mine. And I said, well, how long have you had it? And she said, it was my husband's, but when we got married and moved in together 7 years ago, it became my dresser. So, and I said, how long have the drawers been like that? And she said, they've been stiff as long as I've had it. I thought it was so weird to use the word stiff for that description. Most people say the drawers are stuck, but she said stiff. She had stiff hands. My hands went like that as soon as I touched that dresser. I was like, well, I think we found the smoking gun for your stiffness in your hands. And I think we now have the cause for the skin issue with the exterior of the house. We just need to clear it off and get the house breathing again. And clearly the animals being allowed to poop wherever they wanted was not working for her. We went down to the basement. The basement floor was solid poop, solid. There was no dashing in between, solid. And there were like snow drifts of rabbit hair up against the wall. So, you know what I'm saying when I say, you're not the worst house I've ever been to, Lady in Indiana. So clearly it was a total unhealthy environment. I was there for 10 minutes dying. I'm like, oh, that guy's got pneumonia, right? So I'm throwing this out there, don't let animals or anybody or anything shit on you. Not good. Especially if you're having those complaints in life and you're noticing that showing up in your life. Sorry to be so vulgar, but this is the language that people use, and I'm really just trying to mimic it in the environment. And it was like a literal translation. So if you don't have poop on the floor, look at where your kitty litter box is, where your dog goes. Maybe you have toilets that are leaking, backed up, blocked. Look at your plumbing, all that kind of stuff if you have that issue in life. And so this is just a basic maintenance, get your house to be a basic health, not a health crisis. Putting a little bamboo thing around, okay, we could do it. I'm more interested in getting a dumpster in here and getting the landscapers to get the house from not being eaten alive by all the landscape around it. So that would be my top tier priority list for this client, not putting the candle here and the rock here and the piece of metal there and the water fountain there and the bamboo there. Okay. So you've got to take care of the actual health, what would I call that? The health department issues that they would cross off and say, this isn't even warranting living in because it's such a dangerous to your health environment. So that's the worst house I've ever been to. So feel free to invite me over to Feng Shui you, because I don't think it's going to be that bad, right? And I Feng Shui businesses, I Feng Shui homes, wherever. I've done hospital rooms, I've done dorm rooms. It's makes no difference what the environment is. It is about listening to the complaints, seeing how they translate into the environment, making those changes, doing the opposite normally, right? Changing tracks, tacking in another direction, doing whatever you can do to not be off on that same trajectory to unhealth or unwealth or whatever. So that should be helpful to you to rattle your brain and think about how you're complaining. If you need me to, I do telephone consultations. I travel all around the world doing consultations. Feel free to go to my website, KarenRauCarter.com. Hopefully we'll put a note down below, and you can click on that, or go to moveitwithkaren.com. Subscribe to my newsletter. You'll get a free webinar on how to position yourself for success with the furniture, and watch more videos. Subscribe to my video, my YouTube channel. Hope this has been helpful, and I hope you enjoyed that story, and you're not as bad as that, I'm sure. So good luck out there, and comment below about the changes you make.